Hey there folks, welcome to my channel, and today finally the 144 gameplay, which well, I should have uploaded it a long time ago, but well, it turns out 144 brought me a little bit of a headache or so. I'm not sure if it's related to 144 or my graphics card being weird, but it was like hard crashing my GPU. Screen would turn black, no signal, no response whatsoever, and on event viewer I would get like TDR errors, even though I have TDR delay set on my registry, which should fix that. It's made to mitigate that kind of problem, but even so it would still happen. And that's really weird because it's one of the only games where that happens. The games being Eurotruck Sim and CSGO, and also Assetto, I think, once or twice. But that was like they were the only games where I had that kind of issue, and I was kind of sad though, because once it happens for the first time, it's gonna happen again and again and again. And it's the kind of problem that you cannot really track per se, because it's random. Like, it's very random. You cannot really define whether it's a hardware issue, it's an operating system issue, a software issue per se, it's a driver issue. You cannot really pinpoint, because it truly depends. Like, the first time I had it was with Assetto. That was my first. No, actually, it was Dirt Rally, which I could not fix. Even with the TDR delay, it would still crash left and right. So like I even emailed Codemasters, and they tried to help me fix it and figure out what was wrong, and we could not come to a conclusion whatsoever. It was really random. It would happen. Sometimes it would happen after like 2 hours of gameplay, and other times it would just straight up, like within a minute, it would just crash. Like you load it into the track, bingo, crash. And I had that issue with Eurotruck like once or twice back in the day, and I assumed it was related to DSR because I was using DSR. I used to play the game in Quad HD, even though my screen is 1080p, so that I would get a little bit more juice out of the quality. But that was causing the graphics card to just hang and crash. So I had to disable it and go back to Full HD, which fixed it until 144. And then with 144, it was back again. Like, it wouldn't happen actually during gameplay. It would happen when I paused, or when I went like to the menu and stuff to pick a job and stuff. It would suddenly just turn black and bingo, crash. That was it. And then you would have to reboot your computer essentially, because the GPU would not come back. It would just turn black, no signal, you know, as if you pulled the plug, as if you disconnected the HDMI cable. And I looked all over for the specific error I got. I found no fixes whatsoever. Like, nobody else has the same issue that I have for some reason. Like, I've shown like the same error logs that I found, and no Google results whatsoever. So I was left to my own devices, which was very sad, because I'm not really, I mean, I know my way around computers, but when it comes to graphics card, mainly that kind of issue, which is not like just it's not a game just crashing. It's like the full system crashing, because you lose signal, your computer halts. So I had to reboot all the time. There's no way to like, oh, okay, so you know, it's kind of complicated to track down, and like I said, it's very random. It's not like a specific thing, like, oh, whenever I go to the city it happens, or whenever I go to this, whenever I click there it happens. No, it's very random. It doesn't really have a trigger, you know. It just kind of happens. So it's kind of hard to like pinpoint and find, oh, this is what's causing it, or that is causing it. You cannot really tell. And with the games I've had like this problem happening, I really couldn't fix it. Like CSGO, it was just one specific map at first. It was Mirage. Like, I played it once. We were halfway through, boom, screen turned black. I was like, oh damn. Even CSGO, I cannot believe it, because I had played CSGO for like thousands of hours, no problem. And then suddenly it was happening. And then I tried again with TDR delay because I had applied a Windows update, which when you update Windows, it changes the registry. So whatever settings you put in there, whatever setting you put in there is going to be reset. So my TDR delay was not there anymore. And I assumed, well, if we get the TDR back, it's going to fix. So it's going to fix the issue if we get it back in. So I did. I put my TDR back in, and guess what? It didn't fix it at all. It still happened. Like I chose the same map because it was like, okay, so maybe the problem is the map itself. So I chose Mirage again, which was the only map that I had played that was different from the other maps, and the other maps didn't really crash. So I assumed, well, it's definitely this map. So I loaded back in. We had a warm up. Round started, like within 10 seconds, screen turned black. It was gone again, which, well, annoyed me quite a bit because even with TDR delay, it was still crashing. And curiously enough, for this one time, there was no error log whatsoever. That was the first time I had a full GPU crash without an error log. It was as if I suddenly just cut power to the machine, like, because that's what I had to do. Like, the screen turned black. Obviously, I went on the power button and I clicked on it, and like computer rebooted, obviously. So that was the only log telling that I had interrupted continuous power supply to the machine. That was it. There was no error log. There was no TDR. There was no display window manager, which is one that I used to get a lot as well with some games. There was no error. It was just gone. And then, well, it was quite scary because for the first time ever, I was getting an error that didn't really log anything. So could it be hardware? Could it be... I'm still not sure. Like, if I'm being very honest, I'm still not sure. I cannot really say, oh, it's just my NVIDIA being NVIDIA, and it's not really hardware related, or I just, you know, I don't know. There's no way to know. But the fact it doesn't log anything anymore is kind of scary. Because back in the day, I would have, like, oh, display window manager, TDR delay, TDR touring, blah, 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 sometimes. But this time, there was nothing there. That was... And then the only solution I found was not playing it anymore. And then it didn't crash, obviously. Because with the other games I play, Microsoft Flight Sim, XPlane, everything else, it doesn't really crash, knock on wood. I hope it stays like that. And Euro Truck though, because CSGO, I was not really playing CSGO that much anymore. I'm officially retired from CSGO. I was playing on my Smurf sometimes with friends, and it's the kind of game that I personally could not play anymore, no problem. It doesn't really, I mean, it's kind of sad because it's fun with friends, but it's not a game that, oh my god, I cannot play anymore, it's the end of my life, it's all over, you know what I mean? But Euro Truck though, even though I don't play as much as I used to back in the day, it's still like very special. It was my first actual simulator. It was I played it a lot back in the day, like during high school and stuff. It means a lot to me. It's a game that I find myself comforted when I play it. It's amazing. I have a lot of fun. And the fact that it was not working anymore, it was heart-shattering, like heart-wrenching, actually. I was very sad. It in a way, it messed me up, like, big time. And the fact that, like, because like I said, it doesn't have a pattern. It doesn't have a trigger. It just happens. So it could be that I could play for 5 hours, no problem, it wouldn't crash. And then the other day, it would crash within 5 minutes. Because there's no warning, there's no pattern, there's nothing. It just so happens. It just so decides, oh, it's time to crash, let's go. And then the screen turns black, and you know how it goes. So the only way would be not playing it. And then I considered, like, I was playing, I think, XPlane, and then I remembered that I made a couple of videos with the DXVK wrapper, which converts the calls, the DirectX calls, to VULKAN, which for older games it fixes them, makes it run better, because VULKAN is more optimized than DX9, obviously, and even the X11 for the matter at times. And it fixed a lot of old games. Like, I was playing Grand Theft Auto 4 at 60 FPS, almost no drops, perfect. with the wrapper. So I assume, hey, what if I use the wrapper on Euro Truck and American Truck? Would that actually fix it? Because it's not the X11. Because I was thinking about like the times I had the crash. The common denominator was DirectX 11. Like from all the games I played that had that kind of situation, be it CSGO, be it Dirt Rally, be it Assetto, the common denominator was DirectX, because I never had anything with VULKAN. Like VULKAN never really caused any sort of GPU crash. Like I played Red Dead Redemption on VULKAN for a long time, no issues whatsoever. And so it became kind of, wait a second, I see a kind of a correlation here. Wait a minute, because apparently it's just the X11. So if I switch to VULKAN, would it still crash? But I was still scared because, you know, setting up the steering wheel, booting up the game, and then having it crash, it's kind of, you know, and well, as it had just happened like a day before, I was like, you know what, maybe not, maybe another day when I'm ready to deal with the frustration of having to reboot the computer and, you know, go crash log hunting and stuff. And then a friend mentioned it. I was talking to him, I mentioned the issue that I had, and he was like, why don't you use VULKAN? And then I was like, yeah, I was thinking about that, but what if it crashes again? He was like, I don't think so, I think it's not gonna crash. You know what? I don't have anything to lose. Might as well. And, well, guess what? It apparently doesn't crash. I mean, I've played it for just 1 hour. I did like 2 trips. That's the video one. The video you're watching is the second trip, which I couldn't talk during the recording, unfortunately, because because while like trying to figure out what was wrong with the graphics card, I kind of updated the drivers, and for some reason it got rid of RTX voice, which is the only way to get stereo to work on Shadowplay for some reason. So I couldn't really speak during the recording, so I'm recording after. And well, that one is the second trip, and it worked flawlessly. The only downside, the only thing that I've noticed that seems to be off is nighttime. Like the performance are horrible. It's awful. It's like the worst thing I've ever seen. It is actually like, I've never seen anything quite like it. It dropped to like 29 FPS at times, and it was a stutter fest. Whenever like you drove near lights, it would just freak out. But daytime, it seems at a glance to perform better than the X11, because with the settings I'm using, I'm running the game all maxed out in Full HD. I remember not being able to record at 60 with the X11 whatsoever. If you watch my previous videos from, I think, the 140 reveal, which I recorded at 60 frames, you would notice a lot of frame drops at times because it cannot keep up. If I tried to record, be it Shadowplay, be it Open Broadcaster, it would just shit the bed. Excuse the bad word, but it would. That's literally what would happen. The frames would just die, unplayable, actually unplayable. And well, surprisingly enough, with VULKAN, I mean, not really surprisingly, because VULKAN, on paper at the very least, it seems to perform better because it's more GPU bound than the X11. So the GPU does a lot more work than in the X11, and the CPU doesn't really interfere as much as you would under the X11 scenario. On paper, on paper. Like Red Dead Redemption, the difference between the X12 and VULKAN is that your GPU under VULKAN is going to be working at 99% all the time, and with the X12 it can drop to 95% at times, and consequently you would have a little bit of frame rate impact, which doesn't happen with VULKAN. Even at 99%, the frame rate would still be around 60. You could see, like, when I entered the city, the usage went up to 99%. During the rain as well, mid-trip, it happened as well. And the frames were still near 60. Like, it wasn't crazy, because if my GPU was maxed out and I was recording with the X11, it would just die straight up. Like, the frames would straight up just not be there anymore. 45 FPS, give or take, it was a nightmare. And it doesn't seem to happen with Vulkan. So apparently Vulkan for daytime is a very nice solution. And yeah, apparently for now it seems to have fixed my issue. I know, like, that's not the whole point of the video. The video is just to show Austria and 144, which was originally what I wanted to do, but then, you know, I had the whole situation with my GPU dying, and oh, Vulkan fixes it. So if you guys want to try it out, if you guys have the same issue, which I doubt, because I couldn't find anything like that on Google, it was just me. So, like, if for some reason you have the same problem, that's gonna fix it for you, I'm sure. Nighttime is gonna be terrible. Performance is just awful, but daytime is perfect. It runs better than the X11. And well, the update itself, well, visually very nice. I love the Austria rework. Really, really nice. The new road networks, the new prefabs, the cities. Fantastic job. They nailed it. That's all I can say. I love it. And look at that. That parking was so special. I was worried because I haven't really been playing the game that much. So I was like, oh my god, I'm so rusty. I'm never going to be able to park this trailer. And I got it first try. I'm so happy. Like, that was actually poggers. I just went, oh boy. But yeah, that's it for the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope my fix works for you guys as well. Bye-bye.